Hi guys, it's Elsabe. Welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't done a video in about 2 weeks, but it's been hectic on our side. We are busy building on a little studio for me where I can have more dedicated space for when I'm doing my videos and also my online courses. I'm actually going to show you, we just finished our online jean jacket design, so I'm wearing mine today. I loved doing this course. It was actually such an experience. Just it's my first online class that I've done, and I actually loved every moment of it. We did it as a design and sew along, so it ran over 8 weeks, and I must tell you, I'm so proud of what the ladies have done so far in this class. I've started sharing some of the photos of the finished jackets as well, so please go to Bernina Edenvale and also Surfer Design South Africa to go and have a look at what people have made so far. I know some of them aren't finished yet because it's, life happens, everybody's back to work and that. But as I'm going to get photos in the closed group, I will definitely be sharing it with you. But I'm just loving my new jacket, guys. We did it with, it's a soft denim, stretchy denim fabric. And then we've also put knit sleeves, and we've also put a removable hoodie on it. So I'm wearing mine today just to show you, but it's so comfy. It is really comfy. This denim jacket that we got, we specifically get it in when we do our jeans classes, our jeans pants and our jacket classes, because it's a fashion fabric. It's not those really thick fabrics that we usually get in the fabric shops, which you would rather use for crafts and that. This is just such a soft, and because it's got stretch, it's got a bit of a, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's got a bit of a stretch. So I just had to show you guys this because we are working on other classes, upcoming classes, which will be online. So wherever you are, you can join us for these classes. But let's go back to overlocking and flat locking. Now, most of you will be able to do flat locking on your overlocker. I will talk you through now when I'm going to sit in front of my overlocker. I'll just explain to you how it works, what the best settings is. I am a Bernina dealer, so I mainly work with I know my settings for my Bernina and my Bernets, but I will give you more or less a guideline if you've got another overlocker or another make. I'm being blonde here today, but if you've got another make or model, so that I can just maybe guide you through with it. Not all of the machines will give you a flat lock stitch, but go try it and go and see. Now, when I was planning this video to show you the tips or give you tips on the flat locking, I just googled around a bit to see what everybody else is showing on there, and everybody at the moment is doing their flat locking, and they're just doing it mainly on if it's on clothing, because we concentrate more on clothing because we are more of a fashion design store. So I thought, let's have a look. But it's mainly on t-shirting, all that, where they're doing the hemming or they're doing the stitching so that you've got that decorative stitch. But I wanted to take it further now, and I wanted to talk you through what are you going to do with your settings if you are going to work with a thicker thread, with a decorative thread. I'm busy making a handbag, and I'm using the stitch on my handbag as a decorative stitch. And if you've got that thicker thread, it just stands out so much. It just looks so lovely. But with working with a thicker thread, you have to adjust your tensions a little bit. So I'm going to show you that now. Just some of the threads that I do have that I wanted to show you. I don't know what you will be getting. I know some of you will be watching from overseas, but this is upholstery thread that's got a bit of a sheen to it that I found. Quite a nice thickness. It's almost like, I would say it's thicker than your top stitching or your MacLeod coordinate. So go and have a look at that one. Go play, as long as it fits through your looper comfortably, without putting too much stress on your looper. We don't want you damaging your looper. It's really still got to flow smoothly through your looper. You can use that thread. Another one is the Gutermann top stitching. Like I mentioned, you can use the Gutermann top stitching as well as the MacLeod, the coordinate. That works perfectly. It's thicker than your normal polyesters, so it is still going to give you quite a nice finish on there. And then obviously your Madeiras have got beautiful decorative threads, so if you can get some of your thicker Madeira threads. I've worked with the Glamour, which is their metallics on my overlocker, which gives you beautiful finishes. We will try and do more videos where I work with the Glamour and maybe show you if we work 2-thread overlocking to get like a wrapped overlock. Very nice if we use it sometimes for decorative work when we're going to insert a zip as well, just to give it that bit of a different look. But this one I've got here is the Decora. So Decora as well, you get it in Decora, you get in your variegated, and you also get Decora in your just in your plain colors as well. So I know I'm showing you this, but when I get to my overlocker, we'll do a close-up and you can actually compare the thickness of these threads. I've even used a bit of a crochet thread. As I said, as long as it goes comfortably through your overlocker loopers, you are going to be fine using it. The trick is really now, and that's what I'm going to show you, what do I do to set my machine in for doing the flat locking that way. Alright, I'm just going to show you some of the threads that I mentioned. This is our upholstery thread that I actually got. You'll see it's got a beautiful sheen to it. It's got that shine to it. And it is quite a thick one. I'm just going to put it like this against the white background. So it is quite thick. This is the Gutermann top stitch. So if I have both of them together, let's get the blue one. Can you see it's even thicker than what the Gutermann is? I hope you guys can see. I'm trying to put it over my fingers there. So I hope you can see it there. So that is the Gutermann one. This is the Madeira. Madeira has really got beautiful, beautiful decorative thread. So go have a look at that. Like I said, I love the glamour. You can use a bit of a crochet cotton. Even I think even that DMC number 8 hand embroidery thread should also work. So have a look at that. But the first thing I'm going to show you now as well is the flat locking. If we do flat locking, you get this stitch, which is quite nice and decorative, and then we get our ladder stitch. So if I want this stitch on the outside, I'm going to put my wrong sides together when I'm going to do this stitch. The ladder stitch, I will put my right sides together, and then the ladder stitch will show on my right side, on that side. And I'm just thinking, it was wrong side, right side. Sorry guys, I just had to think for a moment. And I've also done, we have done the ladder stitch, and I've got a nice decorative ribbon, and sometimes I'll just thread it through them like every third or fourth stitch, and it just gives you such a beautiful effect. So this is just done with normal thread, and I'm quickly going to talk you through how to do it as is like this, so that you know how to do your general flat lock stitch, and then I'm going to show you working it with decorative threads. So now let's have a look. If I do sewing on my Bernina overlocker, I'm on my normal tensions, which is basically everything on 4. Also, when you work, remember this is a 3 thread or a 2 thread stitch that I can do. So I've got it on 3 thread setting at the moment, and I love doing it with my left needle because it gives me a wider finish. As soon as I work it with the right needle, it's a lot narrower, and I must say I'd really prefer the look of the wider stitch that I'm going to get. So the best way, all of you will have your instruction book, and all of you will go and have a look at what your settings is for your machines and your different stitches. I don't even look at it when I do my flat locking. I go with my bottom looper, which is the one all the way on the right. I go with my bottom looper. I'm just going to take my tweezer out here, but I put my bottom looper on the highest. So I go all the way to about a 9. Go test it on your machine, guys. But if you don't have settings for your machine, the best is go highest on the looper. Top looper, that's bottom looper. Top looper, you just leave on your basic setting. And the needle looper, I go and I take it to my lowest, because I need to be able to pull it open. And if the needle is too tight, it won't open up. I'm going to do a sample as well where I don't have the needle on the correct setting for you. I just go and sew it off. Some videos I've seen, they almost stitch it so you've got lashes hanging off, so that if you're opening it, you literally don't have to cut your fabric. But if you open it, I don't get an even, I don't know, it doesn't look even. I get sometimes nice and flat, some places I get tunneling, so I prefer to cut. So I'm just going to cut this to show you. It will sound as if your machine is sounding a bit louder, because I've gone very high on this looper. So it might even on a softer fabric almost pull your fabric in a bit, but don't worry about it. And also go and just give it a little bit of a longer thread that you're going to leave behind, because can you see how it's pulled it in? And that's purely just because my tension is high. So now if I look at this, can you see that side? It looks like an overlock loop, but if you look at this, can you see how the needle thread, this is my needle thread, that is now pulled upwards into this V. So I'm not forming a stitch there because I've totally taken all the tension off there. So all I'm going to do now is just pull it flat. And can you see I get a perfectly pulled flat stitch when I do my flat locking like that. Back, if you see, it makes a bit of a fold there. I've got a longer, I usually just give it a bit of a pull on a harder fabric. If it's a thinner fabric, it's just because I'm cutting, it's made a bit of a fold. But can you see there it's going flat? And if it doesn't go all the way flat, I've got a longer needle and I can just push it in and just flatten my fabric there. But there I've got it perfectly flat. If I didn't have my tension needle all the way down, I just wanted to show you, your stitch will not pull flat to give you the flat lock. That is what flat locking is. It's going to pull it flat. So I'm just going to quickly do another stitch here. So first do your test. Just go a bit longer. Oops, my scissors are a bit blunt there. So can you see it's not pulled this all the way down? Look at this. It's pulling that looper thread over. So look where that's sitting. And I already know it's not going to go flat. Look at that. It won't. Look how it's making a loop or a lip there. It's not going to go flat. So it is so important to get this right. Now the trick is, if I'm going to go over and I'm working 3 thread, so I've got my top, my bottom and my needle. If I'm going to work with a decorative thread, even if it's a normal cotton or polyester and I just want a variegated thread, you go and put it in your top looper, not the bottom looper, only there. These two I would usually put it in the same color as what my fabric is, and this I will do my decorative with my top looper. So that one is then my decorative thread. So I'm just going to cut this. I don't know if you guys know this, but if I want to throw off a stitch, my flower wheel I turn backwards away from me while I'm holding onto my thread, and I throw off the stitch, and look how easy it is just to throw that off and get my stitching out. So I'm just quickly going to thread my top looper here. And this is a thicker thread as well. I just want to show you how do I get it through the looper, especially if you are going to work with the thicker thread. Sometimes, especially the Madeiras and the Glamour and that, they are quite of a thicker thread. So there we go. Let's just quickly loop this in. Just want to go in there. I'm just moving this out of the way so that you can see. And I'm going to work through there, so I just wanted to show you. I'm just going to take one of my threads. So if the thread is really too thick to get it through my looper, okay, what I like to do, I take my normal polyester, I loop it, okay, and I actually use this almost as a little looper threader for myself. I'm just going to show you. So I just get those points even there, and I put my decorative thread through it. There we go, and I just pull it a bit longer so it can hang down there. And I go and I thread this through my looper. Sorry, I'm just trying to get it even so that we've got an even one there, and I just twist a little bit. So now what you'll see is I go and I thread my looper with that, and I pull it through, and automatically it just pulls through my decorative thread for me. There we go, my decorative thread has gone through. So I always do that. I don't even try and bother to do it any other way. It's going to be too difficult. I've just threaded out of sequence. Everybody, if you've got your overlocker, you know we do back looper first, then the front looper. So it's always this one, then that one. I've just done it this way. I don't want to go and rethread my whole machine. Now, if I'm working with decorative thread, the first thing you're going to do, don't go to your decorative stitch that you're going to work with. You have to go and do a normal overlock stitch to see what does my stitch look like, because remember, this is my polyesters, this is my thicker thread that I've got. I'm just going to do a small piece. I don't even need a big piece, just to show you. And I need to now, before I can go and do my settings for decorative stitches according to my instruction book, I am going to do a balance stitch, just a plain overlock stitch, and I'm going to set this one in. Remember, this is the one that's got the thicker thread, so obviously it's going to pull a little bit more. So I've got to now be able to loosen this tension a little bit, but I've got to do my test. I can't just go and guess what it's going to be. So usually I know my machine already, it's about 1.5 down on my tension, but I'm going to do a normal overlock stitch. And if you look at this, and I hope you guys can see this quite nicely, can you see with a balance stitch, my stitch will always sit on the edge. Now this one is pulling it, you can actually see the bottom thread is pulling all the way over. So I know I've got to go lower. You can go one lower or half, whatever. I don't know how your machine works. Mine is 4, so I know 1.5 less. So I'm going to go to 2.5. I'm just going to do another overlock stitch just to show you. So I first get a balance stitch, and that's no matter what decorative stitch I'm going to do with my overlocker. If I'm putting a decorative thread in, oh, the scissor of mine is blunt, guys. Sorry, I've got it's actually my paper scissor that was close by that I just grabbed. So now if I look at this, and I can see I might want to set my stitch length a bit as well. Let's just quickly do, just going to do another one. Can you see how I'm looking at this? My stitches are looking a bit loose. Can you see that? It's not tension that is wrong. This is actually my cutting width. I'm not filling up with fabric under that stitch. So let me just quickly go. I've just changed my setting on my cutting width. There we go, that's much better. So now if you look at this, can you see I've got a balance stitch? I hope you guys can see I've actually worked in the blue. So there's my top stitching thread, there's my normal polyester, but can you see it's meeting beautifully on the edge? I've got a balance stitch. Now I can go to my decorative stitch and I can go and say, all right, let's look at the decorative settings of my flat locking. I already know, let's say it's not even flat locking, I'm talking guys just general overlocking decorative threads. If it told me to change this looper maybe to 3 or 5, whatever the setting is, and I know that on a normal overlock stitch I had to drop it by 1. So if my instruction book says go to 5, I will automatically go for that decorative stitch 5 minus my 1, because I know my machine now it was 1.5. So if it told me for my stitch that I'm doing go to 4 or 5, I will automatically go to that stitch minus 1.5. I hope you understand that. That 5 setting or 4 setting that they give you on the top loopers, if I've got polyester thread all the way through, I've got the same thread in each tension unit, but now I've got thin threads, I've got a thick one. This is the odd one out. I'm still going to stay with my stitch settings on these two, whatever my instruction book says I've got to do. This is the odd one, this is the one I'm going to sort out. So whatever I now found, I've done my overlock stitch, I can see, okay, minus 1.5. My book I know says 4 for my top looper, I've put it on 2.5. Now I don't worry about this. I don't have to fiddle with bottom looper or needle. I'm just going to go all the way up, all the way down. So now let's go and do our decorative stitch so that you can see what it looks like. Again, if I wanted my decorative stitch to be this on the right side, okay, that flat lock stitch, then I know I'm going to work with wrong sides of my fabric together. If I wanted my flat lock stitch on the outside, on my right side, to have this thick decorative stitch as a ladder stitch, then I know I have to put right sides together to have the ladder stitch on the right side of my fabric. So let's go do that quickly to show you. So again, I'm just going to cut as I'm going. You'll hear my machine sounds as if it's making a bit of a clicking noise, but you know what, it's because I've got my tension all the way up on my bottom looper. And I can see it is quite high, but that's fine. Sorry, I just want to go a bit longer. And there we go. Can you see how it pulled it in again? If this happens, guys, don't worry about it. It's this extra tension, that's that high tension. But look there. Now if I look at my overlock, my flat lock stitch, can you see everything is perfectly on this edge? I'm just going to go one step back. If I had to have this on 4, like what my book settings was, remember when I did the normal flat locking with all 3 being my polyester? I just want to show you what would happen. And if you are not doing this test before on an overlock stitch and setting this one in, you are never going to be able to set in your flat lock stitch, because you're going to start fiddling with your needle, you're going to start fiddling there, and you're not going to know what your setting's got to be. So please do this. It's going to save you hours of headaches. Is go set this one in as a normal overlock stitch, and then you can set in the rest of your decorative stitches. If I'm looking at this one, it's slightly pulling for me to that side. Not too bad actually, I thought it would pull more. Still giving me quite a nice flat lock, but sometimes you are going to find with the thicker the thread goes, the less it's going to pull flat for you. So let's just do this one. Just wanted to do that test to show you. So look at this. There we go. Look how beautiful that is. Now I'm noticing one thing here. It's not as thick, but I would love my stitches to be slightly longer. So I'm going to suggest that the thicker your thread, go to a longer stitch length. So I might go to about a 3.5, and let's do one more. Already so much better. Look at that. Now remember, I need that extra spacing for the stitches to form. There, look at that, so much better compared to, this was on a 2.5 stitch length, sorry. This I've gone to a 3.5 stitch length. Just look at that, how much better that is. So I'm going to ask you guys always, no matter what, we're working on flat locking, but no matter what your decorative stitch is, always go and set your overlock stitch in with the decorative stitch. Make sure you get a balanced stitch. Not that one looper is pulling, because now I can see my top looper is pulling my bottom looper over to the side. So you first is get your balance stitch, and then go and put your normal settings for this. Don't change anything on this. This is the odd one out. That is the one we want to change at the end of the day. Okay guys, that is just my tip if you're going to do flat locking with decorative thread. You know what, you can do so much more with your overlocker. We seem to get stuck in this rut and think we've just got to do overlocking, and then when we get a bit adventurous, we'll try our stitches, but we still stay with our polyesters. Be adventurous, go play with your decorative threads. There is absolutely stunning threads out there, and that little bit of an extra thickness just gives you such a beautiful finish. I've shown you the 3-thread overlocking or flat locking now, where I've put the thicker thread or the decorative thread in my top looper. We can, if you've got a machine that does 2-thread, I'm talking specifically now Bernina brand, that would be my 800, my 1150, and also our newer ones, the Bernina 450 and the 460 as well, and my new Bernina range that we've brought out, the 44 and the 48 as well. All of them can work beautifully with those decorative threads. But if I'm and working it as a 2-thread as such. So if you're going to work with a 2-thread, you're going to bypass, you should have a little looper converter, and you are going to bypass your top looper. Then I'm going to do another video where I will show you the same results with working with 2 threads, because I'm going to work my handbag that I told you about with 2 threads. I'll do a little video on that for you. But just remember then my decorative thread, because I'm only working bottom looper and I'm working with my needle if I'm working a 2-thread flat lock, then my decorative thread goes into my bottom looper. And again, just test. By now you would know with that one, when I worked the 3-thread, I had to go 1.5 lower. Mine always with these sort of threads are 1.5 lower, so you will get to know your machine and you will be able to go set it in for yourself. The handbag I'm doing, I want you guys to go download it. It's actually a beautiful handbag. It's a free handbag from Swoon Patterns. It's called the Laney Reversible Hobo. I'm actually just going to put it there for you. I love Swoon Patterns. She's got beautiful patterns. And this is actually, I just saw it the other day, and it's a free pattern. So go download the free pattern. Go to swoon.com and get it for yourself. I've cut mine out already, and I'm going to do these panels. I'm actually going to sew together with a cream 2-thread flat lock stitch. That's why I said I will do, as I'm sewing it, I will do another video just to show that to you. But I'm just going to go down a little bit. I want to show you my fabric that I've cut out. I've done a upholstery fabric and I've done a denim fabric. So look how beautiful that is going to look. As I said, I just love, I'm just going to do that. I just love this handbag of swoon patterns. So I've just placed, I've actually cut it out today. So I'm just putting it like that so you can see the effect that I'm going to get. So I don't want to do a blue decorative thread because it's going to be just too blue. So I'm going to do more of this color, or I might even just go a shade lighter or darker. I'll play with it. I've actually got my Gutermann here. I thought that would work. Yeah, that's going to work. That's going to give me quite a nice, I think that's going to give quite a nice look on that fabric. So that is my handbag that I've cut out. I cannot wait to make it, to show it to you. And that thicker thread on there, if I had to do a normal polyester flat locking, it's just going to disappear because it's a coarser fabric. The upholstery is a thicker fabric, and I tested it. I actually want to show you a test. I just did it with a blue, but I'm just going to try and see if we can zoom in. But can you see how it disappears? This is just the normal thread. It's not the thicker thread. It almost disappears for me on that fabric. You can't get that effect. So as soon as I've got that thicker thread, even if it's going to be almost the same color, it is going to stand out. So please go play with your flat locking. I love my overlocker. I do almost everything on my overlocker. So I want you guys to now be adventurous. Go play with your overlocker. Do not be scared of your overlocker. You're welcome to post questions for me below. Like I said, I will also put a link to this pattern for you below the video as well. So please go check for that link. Go download the freebie for yourself. If you want to also go to her Facebook page, go like her Facebook page as well. I really think she's got lovely patterns. But please, let's put it this way. I'm going to ask you, go share if you're doing this. Go to my Bernina Edenvale Facebook page. Go share what you've made with your flat locking. I would love to see what you've done. I will share my handbag also there when I'm done. And also, please share this with your friends, or your sewing friends. And go like my Facebook, my Bernina Edenvale, my Surfer Design South Africa. And also just like and subscribe this video. I would really appreciate it. Do try and do more tips with you. As I said, once we've got our building all done, I would be able to do more regular videos. At the moment it's so noisy here with all the building and the breaking and the everything. It's driving us crazy at the moment here. But definitely more upcoming tips and tricks for you guys, more online courses coming up. So please just go like my pages so that you can be updated on everything that we're doing. But for now, go download, go do your sewing, and share your makes with us.